Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome to Dreamy Dreamland with Sensei Al Bob. and It's me. It's me and the goo. The goo. The goo is me. I am goo and you are goo, and we are all gooey together. Ah, You know, at any moment of your existence, you are covered in microscopic organisms, right? Viruses and bacteria and all kinds of things. And I live out in the woods, and everything rots and it's fungus, and it's just quite interesting to be aware of that, and that's part of the consciousness of being aware. The story of Buddha, and he's on the side of the road, and traveler comes up and, "Well, are you God?" Buddha says they're standing in luminescent beauty, meditation, and goes, "No." "Well, man, what are you?" Buddha replies, "I'm awake. When you're strange." Yep, when you're strange. People don't know you in the night. They all go bump. Ooh, when you're strange. Yep. Well, I don't even have my cigarette or my cup of coffee. But there's Janie Poo. Greetings, Sensei Al Bob. Cadres of adepts. So, thanks for the thumbs up. And I'm not online as much because things are pretty strange around here. And I've been working on my novels, and I got in a real great jag the other day, and then of writing, and then my computer just went like that and wiped out about 40 pages that I had written, right? And I tried to bring it back up, and no, it wanted to be online, so I had to come someplace I could be online. But my neighbor, who's about a mile from me, he had people staying at his house, so I couldn't just come up here. So today, there was nobody up here except the person who's painting things, and so I'm sitting out in the back, and I've got some stuff, and so it's interesting. So I have no money, but I mean, I always have whatever money I need, and so the billionaires, trillionaires, um, the person who does this the most is Warren Buffett, Mr. Hathaway, you know, and what he does is he buys, borrows, dies. Meaning he never pays any tax because as long as you're not getting income from your investments, um, you don't have to pay tax on it, right? So he's got trillions of dollars worth of investments, and it's spread all over the universe. And so banks and other elements will lend him money. So he lives relatively frugal for a trillionaire. And so he borrows a million here and a million there, and that's like chump change to a trillionaire. And I mean, he's more wealthier than anybody else, but he doesn't he's not like Scrooge McDuck. He doesn't have his safe that he goes swimming in his gold like Elon Musk does. And Elon Musk and Jeffrey Bezos and Billy Bob Small Penis Microsoft. I mean, that's why it's called Microsoft. His penis is that small and it's always soft. So he's Microsoft. So those guys are just like Puddinhead face slant dildo. All those guys are just um, poster boys, meaning they were brought up to do this, to represent, right, to be the oligarchs, right, of the world. Because the folks behind the curtain, you don't see them. I mean, that's what I don't know if any of you knew the story of The Wizard of Oz was written by an economist. Follow the yellow brick road. Follow. What are you supposed to do in a crime? Follow the money. Yellow brick road. What's the yellow brick road? It's the blocks of gold that are no longer in the vault, right? took nine, you know, 9/11 took out whatever gold was left in the vaults underneath the World Trade Center. I mean, that Die Hard movie was exactly what happened on 9/11. It was a bank heist, you know? And also, it got rid of certain evidence, just like Carrot Head took the boxes out of the White House, and they're all upset about that. Well, he was just, holding on to some evidence. So if they come after him, he can go after them. And the things he took were things about the alien agenda, and I don't mean people from Mexico. You know, and so the hidden hand, which is what I like to call it. Other people call it the high table. I mean, the Illuminati. I mean, those guys, the Illuminati are just guys who are, again, poster boys, right? They are nothing about what's going on, because what's going on is, you know, it would twiddle your knobs if you knew what was going on, right? And if you want to know what's going on, and most people don't, what you do is go into state. Here, let's go. Let's do it right here, right now. And close your eyes. Put that, and take that cigarette and put it above your third eye and say, "Thank you, tobacco, for bringing me into enlightenment. Thank you for hearing my." Now, close your eyes um, and visualize in the light coming. Get your eyes closed, and that enables you to see through your imaginary mirror. When you have REM sleep, that's what it is. You're seeing um, the higher levels of consciousness. You travel forth from your mud puppet through your soul. Your soul is nothing anything other than a fiber optic line going up to your Akashic record into your super conscious mind. That is where your spirit is, right? So there you are in spirit, and that's when you can look in open up your Akashic record. Boom, right? You're sitting down at your reading table. Your guides, your librarian, your animal totem, and your guardian angel are right there at your left, and to the right are the nine doors, right, of enlightenment. And the one that's open is your super conscious mind. The others are closed. You can go visit them, but usually you have to go through, like Alice did. She went through the rabbit hole, right? So you're seeing all of this as I speak. The images appear in your mind. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome to Dreamy Dreamland with Sensei Al Bob. Your, I'm just here to tell you a story. Any of you snowflakes, just leave. Anyone who can't have an open mind, leave. Anyone who is just prejudice, everyone's prejudiced. They have an opinion. When I say you're prejudiced, you go, well, I have a friend who's black. No, sorry, that's racism, you know, and most white people are racist, racist scumbags, right? Racist pigs, racist morons, racist puddinheads, because you're one of that breed. I mean, if you understand you are a racist, you've been brought up in a racist culture, you have been led to believe that you're exceptional because you're white and the other guy's black, so you deserve more and they deserve, nothing, right? So see these scars, right? These are the scars when the nun crushed my head, right? This one over here, there's one over here, is where my youngest sister, I mean, I'm the youngest of all of them, but the youngest daughter, she was the youngest, and then I came along, and she, there were three others before between her and me. That's why she was about 5 when I was born, and either someone murdered them or else, they just, didn't want to be here. I mean, that's a good, a shaman once told me about stillbirths and miscarriages and abortions is that um, the fetus in each of those stages aborts itself, because it don't want to be here. It don't want to come into the world, And I made a deal with Bob that I would come and be the lucky bastard I am, and move forward without having any idea which, what, and how that should be done. Uh, but I said I'd do it. And so I've died 7 times, and every time I've come back because my agreement is to do this, right? And I am, as a lucky bastard, I've died, I'm a shot, murdered by priests and nuns and doctors, but I've always had somebody watching my back. And so I'm now in my 70s, and so I'm been put into what, I don't want to say timeout, but in a place where I'm comfortable, but I have no access to anything. I mean, to just talk to you guys was a endeavor, you know. So that's the story, and all you have to do is look. The war in Ukraine, this time next year, 1 billion people will have died of starvation and floods. There are floods everywhere. I mean, in Pakistan, they've just had worst flood in 1,000 years, and it just happened to happen right where they've been having a drought for the last 10 years, and they had some fires the last 2 years. So there's nothing to hold anything back, and everything that's there is just flotsam and jetsam of a dying neighborhood. And then this, they got like 8, 9 inches every 2 hours for the last 3 days, and it's still raining. So they can tell you 1,000 have died, but probably way more, and they have no way of dealing with it. Just like in Afghanistan, they have no way of dealing with what they're doing, and so all the Taliban is doing is double downing on the hard edge of their administration. When they took over, when we let them walk in, when we handed the keys, we had been there 20 years. In the last 8 years, we have been able to hold them at bay with A-10s, drones, and 2,500 special forces. That's nothing. That's like chump change in the Defense Department. But we walked away, and I mean, we literally walked away. Bagram Air Force Base, one of the largest Air Force bases we ever had, and it was totally surrounded by mountains. So there's only one way to get at it was through the front door, which was a big valley. And where did we choose to have our last days there? But in the Cracker Barrel um, public airport in the capital city, which was totally accessible. I mean, people could 60,000 people ran onto the runway and tried to gram onto the, wings of the airplane when they were flying out of there. Elon Musk said we should worry more about uh, falling birth rate versus global warming. Well, this is true. As as a businessman, he would say that because he is, worrying about who's going to buy his product and who's going to be the slaves in his factory. But that's irrelevant because I mean, we have the technology. I forgot which company it was. If I had a telephone single, I'd call it Mr. Tools. And that's another thing, gang. A lot of you, my one phone that had all my, you know, WhatsApp and all of the other little things that I talk to people around the world on died, and they don't seem to be able. I mean, I it died, and then I bought another phone to replace it, and that phone that died, and I had it fixed, and then I was using it for about 4 months. As one phone that if I was in Wi-Fi land, I could get on the internet and talk to people that way. But it just won't work anymore. So you're doing a great painting job. Uh, you're not a painter, right?
Too much work.
Yes. Oh, when is the next crew showing up? Today, tomorrow,
Wednesday.
Wednesday? Because our fearless leader said that he'd always keep me informed on the schedule. I never seen the schedule, so I have no idea. So,
Oh,
and I can't see who's here when there's leaves on the trees unless I start to come up the driveway.
Yeah. Well, he's inside. You can talk to him.
Oh, he
about that.
is. Oh, he
Yeah.
arrived.
Yeah, he's inside.
Oh, okay. Then I'll go talk to him. So anyway, that's global warming. See, the thing is, a good friend Art Bell and another Whitley Strieber wrote a book called The Day After Tomorrow. Right, and then they made it into a movie. So go watch that on YouTube or whatever. And the real deal is not global warming. Forget that. I mean, that's just going to be not even a blink in the eye of the geological life of this planet. And you know, you have to realize that Mother Earth has been an ice ball most of its life, right? And this last, oh, I don't know, million years has been basically the Goldilocks thing, where we were able to assert our authority. We sure haven't, but we've just been played. And so what's going to happen is, yes, it's going to get hotter and hotter and hotter till it's like melting. And then what is going to happen once all those ice sheets melt, right? And the ocean, it's not so much it's going to rise, it will, but the real issue isn't the rise, it's the salinity of the ocean. And once the salinity really goes way down, what keeps everything warm in the northern hemisphere and in Europe, or northern hemisphere, is that it's called the African train. And they're these swirls, the vortexes, out in the North Atlantic, up near Iceland and Greenland and Canada, and just not too far from Ireland. That are like egg beater, and it sucks the warm water from Africa across a little chunk of the Wayward Islands to the Pacific into South America, and then up the backside of Brazil into Mexico, into all those little countries there, and into the Gulf of Mexico, and then up the East Coast, and then across Canada, and then into Europe, right? Well, once that salinity drops and those little vortexes slow down and stop, that train is no longer going to be here. So this planet will go back to being what it is. And why they call it the Northern Hemisphere is that's where the ice is, right? And so Europe, Russia, Europe, United States, Canada, Alaska, everything in the Northern Hemisphere is going to be frozen solid. I mean, like that. So go watch that movie, Day After Tomorrow. And that's what's going to happen within the next 15, 30 years, right? And all crap. And go read Whitley Strieber's best books. He's most famous known for Communion, which is his first one where he talks about abduction. But my two favorites are 2012 and Grays, right? So Grays, that's a very good book because it really kind of describes the alien agenda, right? And 2012 describes exactly what's going to happen to us, right? So I won't be a spoiler, but go read those two books and watch the movie The Day After Tomorrow. And that's what's going to happen in the next 20 years, 20 to 30 years, right? And all hell is going to break loose. And this, have you noticed that the thing that we spent umpteen zillion dollars on, the Aladdin's lamp of, 50 years ago, we had a Saturn V booster that could boost into medium orbit, meaning into orbit that you could then go someplace else. 50 tons, right? And the rocket we have now does just a little bit better. But 60 years ago, give or take, we had a booster that could. So, what do you think they did with that booster? They had another place. It was, after we sent up, I don't know, 5, 6 guys, and we had paid for another 5 exploration of the moon, 72, right when Richard Nixon took us off the gold standard, and we sold every city and town is in a corporation. So you citizens are just products. Google, is Google. We every time you use Google, Google should pay us, and they will. They will. That's the interesting thing because they're not going to keep us around for being, just drones and slaves and mass consumers. Well, they're going to keep us around as mass consumers, but and also um, pudding heads. But um, there's a company, like I said, Toolman would tell you better than me. There is a Whitley Strieber. Yep, that's our boy. Anyway, so uh, every job will be done by a robot. Already here is. They're going to bring the job back from Mexico and China. No way, Jose, because they'll bring them back for tax reasons, but it will all be done by robots. Most of all manufacturing in America is done by robots. You know? So, um, Will Smith thing, I Robot or whatever that movie was, where he's part robot. He's in a car crash and the robot saves his ass, and they have to replace half of him with Tinker Toys on the inside, and he's kind of racist against robots. So, and the real people who have the 411 on AI and robots is Japan. Have you seen their sex robots? Wow. You can't tell the difference. I mean, it can have a conversation with you while giving you a blowjob, or giving you cunnilingus, either one. And it's right, and, I'm sure it has different attachments. Ooh, yeah, all one tightly placed X there, and we'd be toast. Back in the 1890s, or when we were, pushing the railroad across the West and killing the last of the Indians. Um, we had and turning all the white people and Chinese into slaves along with the black folk. I mean, yes, they got their freedom, but then they had to work their living. So, as they moved the railroads across the West, they put up telegraph lines, right? And so we got hit by an X flare. That we did not really have an electrical infrastructure. We had a little bit. Edison had a little crap in lower Manhattan and a few people rich's homes. Like Mr. J.P. Morgan on Fifth Avenue had his own little generator and light bulbs. And the X Flare came, and man, it fried everything. And those rails that were just going across the desert there, because there are two of them, they were turned into magnets, and it turned into those railroads into spaghetti. They had to redo the whole thing again, right? So we had one of those. Every car, every train, every airplanes would fall out of the sky. It would be, forget about it. So that's what we're looking at in the next probably 3 to 4 years. So all you folks who are out there, just got your mundane job, but you're getting paid pretty good. Put money away. You don't do anything. You just play with the dogs, go out with a girlfriend, mow the lawn. That's it. No, that's not life. I mean, I have more of a life here because I every person I come in contact with, I interact on a shamanic level. I write my novels. I tell stories. I talk to you guys on YouTube. You know, and some I have to say thank you. Someone sent me a few dollars, and so the PayPal still works, kids. You can send me money on PayPal. Anything. I mean, I have nothing from now until I have maybe a quarter, more than a little above a quarter tank of gas, and really no money. So I have no money to buy gas, and luckily nobody was here, so I could come to my work to my neighbors and speak to them. So anyway, so get a life. That's You want things not to be as weird. We're already in 5D. Yep, pretty much. I mean, the whole Matrix film is like, you know, that's us, in one way or another. So, how about some more thumbs up? There's three of you now. And how about some money in PayPal? And how about some thanks for the chat? And how about some more of the comments? So here's a beautiful day. And see where I'm at. I picked this place 20 years ago because it had great water, and I'm right in a place where the weather, no matter how screaming weird it is, it's relatively nice here. Not normal, nice. You know, nice is going to become less and less of a concept that people know about. You know what nice is? You take the etymology derivation of nice all the way back to where it came from. Came from Latin, and when Rome was conquering the world, its armies were everywhere, and so those guys. I mean, all those guys had their own. The Greeks gave their soldiers, a little boy to be with, to be the butler and the pooty head, right? So the Romans, that was too expensive, so they just raped and pillaged, and so and they were nice about it, you know, not like the Russians or anybody else or the Americans. We're the worst. We have done, we're like complaining about Russia. I mean, we had a war in Iraq and Iran for 20 years. We killed 6 million people, us. Then you mix in the Arab Spring that our CIA and Hail Hydra fermented. You're looking at 20 million people dead. And the economic disruption around the world because of that, you're looking at another 40 million. 40 million. We killed 40 million people. And Hail Hydra. And so all I can say is have fun. Be nice to each other. you know, Send your Sensei Al Bob some money on PayPal. Come on. It's getting ridiculous. So I'm not going to be doing. This was a. I didn't think I was going to do this today, but the gods of the internet let me on. So all I can say is this is it. So things are going to get even weirder, quicker and quicker and quicker and quicker. And they haven't. So that Roman candle on out there, they're going to have to roll that thing back into the garage, right? And they said, "Oh, we did a really amazing job. We fixed everything. We're going to launch on Monday." Not really. One of the engines doesn't work. Right? So, um, and I bet you dollars to donuts. If I had money to bet, and I was in Las Vegas, I would put money on the fact that Roman candle is going to take off and blow up, and maybe take out Elon Musk because Elon Musk's little super duper launch pad is just a couple months. It's at Kennedy, not in Texas, in Kennedy, right? And so if that were to happen, right, and that's all, that's NASA's, they won't let him launch from his site in Texas. And I mean, the Dragons go up, but the big one, no, they want to launch out of Kennedy. And if this Roman candle blows up, it will take out Elon's little thing. But in the long run, it'll be good for Elon because then he will be able to do whatever he wants down in Texas, right? And so you're going to start seeing infrastructure fall apart. I mean, we haven't done anything with our infrastructure in America. I used to be not a lineman. I used to wire those transformer distribution center. You see the big tower lines come in, and then the voltage is broken down from transmission level into usable level. I used to wire those things, and so I was pretty familiar with the electrical grid and what it did. And that was in early '70s when I did that, '72, up there in the West. And we haven't done anything with that. What happened? Bill Clinton sold all our infrastructure to Mr. Rothschild, for peanuts on the dollar. And Rothschild hadn't done anything. He just upped the rates and kept a band-aid on everything until it's ready to fall apart because you're going to replace it with Tesla wireless transmission. He in the 1890s, and I was just reading his patents again. I have a book of his patents, and also his letters in technical journals, and then the response. And so he was going on and on and on about wireless transmission and how it would be bring heaven on earth because then power could be free, um, and you could have force fields, a dome, which we already have that technology. And so you could that's what Star Wars was, and we have that. We have stuff out in space. I mean, the thing that took down the World Trade Towers was a space-based energy. I mean, you go look at that video that they played over and over and over, the building coming straight down, and it basically turned into a waterfall of dust. And when I was an apprentice electrician at the IBEW, I worked on the World Trade Center. I worked on a Greenlee 1712, which was this big flat table that had these knobs on it, and you would put large galvanized pipe, like things from 3 inches up, and to try and bend that with just a hickey or a pneumatic shoe. No, this thing you put it on there. You had to be able to think backwards. Well, I have dyslexia, so if you wanted to put a 40 on this and then a 90 and then another offset over a hickey over there, you could just set these little knobs, put the pipe exactly where it should be, hit the button, and go. "Ah." So if you needed 70 to 1,000 pipes bent the same friggin' way, you could do it with this thing, right? And that the World Trade Center was built like it was a mass produced vehicle, meaning, and the load bearing of that thing wasn't on the inside, wasn't those floors. The load bearing was the outside of the building. It was a steel cage, and each floor of the World Trade Center had no columns holding that floor up. And the more weight that you put on that floor, the stronger it got. Right? It was built to withstand two 707s flying into the building at the same time. And 707s were like your old, you know, Ford truck. I mean, it was like heavy duty airplane. Where a 767, 757, they're basically thermos bottles with wings and engines. Just, the most heavy, sturdy thing on modern transport aircraft are the engines. Right? And so the aircraft could not get through the building to start the fire. And the building 7 came down and nothing hit it. Oh. So, oh look, 3333. So the weirdness started a long time ago. Just open your eyes, start taking a look. There's only one person left. I'm sure it's Janie and or Fish or Ed, whoever was here. It was good seeing you. Love you. Catch you later. Bye. Boop, 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 boop. Here's my little. There it is. Maybe I won't really be able to do anything until maybe the weekend or Monday, to talk to you guys. And I have to go to these restaurants and stores, and I'm a regular there, and I buy a meal, and so half of them are, the owner is someone that is one owner. You're costing me money. The electricity you, I mean, the electric. I mean, everything's on a battery. I wasn't going to say no. You're wrong. Anyway, so you're going to see me less and less unless you send me something on PayPal. You know, your connection is unstable. Please wait. So send me. You're not going to see me unless you start sending me something on PayPal because I just can't put money in the gas tank, and I can't go to these restaurants and keep buying a meal. Right. So okay. Bye.